Hey guys, Mars Singing here, bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we are continuing with the stages for the Blue Zone, the Supreme Magnificent Battle event, gathering of the Super Warriors. We've had the next two stages released here today, so we've got Dragon Ball Z Part 2. Both of these stages have special missions for using a full team of 6 characters from a specific category. So stage 3 is artificial life forms. So I mean, these Blue Zone stages, especially in comparison to the Goku story and Vegeta story red zones and the Formidable Hardened Foes events, like those first two stages that came out were very, very easy. And I've had a look at the stats for these extra 2 missions, and they don't seem to be much more difficult than the ones that we've seen so far. So these shouldn't be too difficult. And of course, you know, they've also gone ahead and given us a mission for artificial life forms, which, considering how absolutely ridiculous some of these Boo units are now, is going to be incredibly easy. So yeah, I decided to add a little bit of a challenge for us here in this run. We are not using any of the 200% like leads for the team. We're not using Tech Buuhan or Int Fat Boo. We're just using double physical Boo Tanks leads. But realistically, we shouldn't have any trouble here. These guys have an unarmed super, so Kid Buu just straight up negates that in slot 1. And we're fighting Buu Saga enemies, so Kid Buu gets to use his active skill straight away, which means that not only does he have all of his start of battle like extra damage reduction and defense that he loses once he gets like 6 hits, which he will be getting hit 6 times in this turn, but it means he had the active skill buff as well, which would have been nice if he didn't get immediately sealed. But yeah, him negating the unarmed super was pretty funny. And then yeah, he just one-shots Goten, Trunks and Gohan. And Vegeta? Yup. Is he gonna crit? Is he just gonna one-shot everybody? Yeah, well, Piccolo got hit a few times with normals from Kid Buu, but yeah, I wouldn't expect this to be particularly difficult. I mean, artificial life forms, even if you don't have all of the best Buu units, this team's obviously very, very strong. Buuhan, Int Buuhan especially with the Super EZA, one of the older units in the game for this team technically, but of course with the Super EZA is now just an absolute beast. Physical Kid Buu again with his Super EZA. Like a lot of these older units on the team with their EZAs are just so powerful now. I guess it's weird because with some of these categories, if you're a newer player or like only been playing for maybe like a year, so a lot of these characters like the Physical Kid Buu and Int Buuhan haven't really been on a lot of banners, so you're not as likely to have them. But obviously some of these guys with their Super EZAs are really good choices for like the red stone picks. But you know, Int Fat Buu, he's been on a banner, and he's been on banners a few times now since his release. So yeah, he's a unit that you may have picked up along the way, who obviously you could use as the leader. STR Kid Buu. Him and Goku, they were featured on banners recently, weren't they? And that's why we suspected they were going to get their EZAs. Although I think was it the New Year's banners, which I know a lot of people will have skipped anyway in preparation for the anniversary. But I mean, artificial life forms contains a bunch of other decent units, like the Gammas are on there. Some of the other androids like Cell Max. So you could definitely make a sort of mix and match artificial life forms team. But the Buu team is obviously going to be the one that works the best. A lot of these fights seemingly so far being against multiple enemies at the same time as well, so characters like Cell Max, who have an AoE super, are going to be very, very effective in these fights. So right, so we've got Mr. Satan, let's go. I guess we just keep building these guys up. Yeah, we'll let the guest one go first because he doesn't have as much defense. But yeah, these stages I would say are more suited for the newer players because they definitely don't, if we look at their stats, they're definitely not as crazy as like some of the red zone stages that we've seen. Even the 3 like red zone stages for both of the story ones that came out a little bit earlier in the week, some of them have ended up having absolutely insane bosses. But at this point with the Hercule boss, He still doesn't even do like 1,000,000 damage with his super attack, so we shouldn't really have too much to worry about. There's quite a few phases, but yeah, even the final boss does a 1.4 million, so nothing too crazy, which is good, right? Because we do want like a variation of difficulty level for these new events, because even if you're a newer player or returning player because of the anniversary and you pull like the anniversary headliners, you still have to be able to make good teams for them. This is an issue that I ran into when trying to use my JP account, like a side JP account that I never spent any money on and would only really log in every like couple of months when there's a big celebration. I went on for like the 8th anniversary because I didn't want to have to wait for it to come to global, and I pulled both the 8th anniversary headliners, the GT Duo and the Boo Duo, and then when I was trying to do videos to show them off, especially in the new events that were coming out for the 8th anniversary, like I had them, but I didn't have like all the good units that you want to run on their team with them. So that's the thing, even if someone has come back for this anniversary and they've pulled like Vegito, for example, still need to be able to make a decent team with him. But obviously he's a strong enough unit that for events of this difficulty level, he is going to be doing most of the heavy lifting, right? You still obviously need to be able to fill out the rest of the team with units, but yeah, this one shouldn't be too difficult, I would imagine, for most people. So do this. I guess we'll spread some of the attacks out here. You don't need to worry about orbs. Can any of these guys be attack lowered? Gohan can, apparently, so let's attack him with Mr. Boo, if he's even still alive. Interesting that we started off with like the anniversary card, the base Gohan, Goten and Trunks, and now we've got the 3 separate enemies, Super Saiyan versions of all 3. Super attacks in slot 1. Damn, 284 on Boo-Tanks. I suppose it is before he attacks. But again, that's not too bad. Like if this was one of the harder red zone stages that we've just been recently getting, and we got double supered in slot 1, that would be a pretty awkward situation to be in. So, and of course we know the Boo team is a team that has so much healing. Characters that heal end of turn, characters that heal start of turn, links that give you healing as well. So we can recover very, very easily from even losing like 90% of your HP in one turn. It's kind of the thing with the Boo team, right? As long as you don't die, then it's very easy to bounce back on the next turn. And then of course if you do have Infat Boo, it doesn't even matter if you do die, as long as it is him that dies, right? Because then he gets the revival, and you're good to go from there. But like I say, didn't use him, didn't use Tech Buhan, just to add a little bit of extra challenge here, not use one of the 200% leads. Of course, if you do have either of those, then might as well throw them on as the actual leader of the team. Make it a little bit easier for yourself. Everyone will be hitting the slightly higher numbers. And then, yeah, what are you at here now? Only 447. Can probably keep you stacking. Kid Boo's over 1 million defense. So even though he loses some of his damage reduction, he still has some. So these guys like basically can't do damage to him, right? So do this and then do this. So I'm going to spread out quite a lot of damage here on this turn. Gohan's going to super Kid Boo, double digit damage, yeah. Because yeah, what do these guys hit for on this turn? Well, actually, Gohan does 1.2, and then Trunks and Goten both do 1 million, but Kid Boo having over 1 million defense and still having some damage reduction means that they can't do damage to him at all. Takes out Gohan. Crit normal takes out Goten. And then, yeah, softening up Trunks, ready for Int Buhan to finish him off. Of course, Int Buhan also healing with the orbs that he picks up, so very, very likely that we will just finish the run here on full HP. We move on to the base Angel Goku. This guy is the final boss, so he greatly lowers defense with your super, with his super. So actually, if characters are mainly relying on their raw defensive stat to be able to tank, he will be doing, you know, more than 1.4 million because he's going to be reducing their defense by a significant amount. But of course, with this team, like the Boo team, we've got characters like this. Tech Super Boo has a lot of damage reduction. Buhan has guard. Kid Buu, I don't know how many times, if at all, physical Kid Buu's actually been hit during this run, whether he's built up much of his damage reduction, but yeah, so he still took 14k, but I mean, Tech Super Buu has 70% damage reduction as long as you have Margin Power ally on rotation with him, so we were never going to need to worry too much about that and type advantage. He can super twice, okay. I suppose that's the only thing that could be, I guess, a little bit of a challenge here at the end for slightly weaker teams. Is, yeah, the enemy greatly lowering defense on super is one of the things that has allowed bosses in the past to be able to hit so hard. Because if you have a character who doesn't have damage reduction, doesn't have guard, but, you know, they're at like 1,000,000 defense, when they get hit with his super, because it greatly lowers defense, it's shaving off, like, greatly lowers when we do it to the enemy is what? It's not 50%, is it? Because that's like a lot in one go. I think it might be. So if you think about it, if a unit had 1,000,000 defense and then all of a sudden they only count as having 500k, that means his 1.4 million super does like 900k damage to them. Whereas if he didn't lower defense, it would only be 400k. So I'm not sure what the exact calculation is. That's if it is 50% for greatly lowers. But obviously characters that have things like guard and damage reduction do circumvent like a little bit of that damage. Like, for example, Kid Buu, right? If he supers Kid Buu and he's lowering his defense, let's say it is 50% to 550k, Kid Buu obviously still has, what? Is it just 40% now? No, it's 50%, right? Because he has 20% base, 10% with each Margin Power ally on the team, up to 30, so 50. Yeah, he only loses the 20% here, so he still has 50% damage reduction. So he still cuts Goku's super down to like 700k. He does have type disadvantage though, but he should be fine to survive the super here. And then, of course, when he attacks, he gets a bunch of extra defense as well. So, yeah, the slot 1 super would probably be the only awkward thing. But then we get the Dokkan attack here with Kid Buu as well. So, let's go ahead and do that. And then, yeah, that should be all she wrote, because the Dokkan attack, I think if you get the maximum, like if you hit all the nodes, I've still never been 100% sure on this, but the Dokkan attack essentially counts as being effective against all types. Although I'm not 100% sure, so if somebody could confirm, let me know in the comments. But either way, with Kid Buu, I mean, he crit regardless, so 40 mil to get rid of that last little bit of Goku's HP bar. And there you go. So that is the first of the new stages done. Stage 3, Dragon Ball Z Part 2. Like I say, I don't expect this one to be hugely challenging for people if you've been able to handle most of, or you know, at least some of these new red zone stages. I would say that the 3 new stages that came out for both red zones over this last week were all much more difficult than this one. So if you're able to get a few of them done, then you shouldn't have too much trouble with this one. The only issue obviously will be, depending on your own box, what the level of your artificial life forms team is. But remember, you know, you can always just beat the stage once with your best team, get the first mission done, get the 5 stones, and then come back to it at a later date when you have a stronger artificial life forms team. But there you go, that is stage 3. So we're going to move on to stage 4 next, and that will be the next video. So let me know how you guys got on down below in the comment section. What team did you use? Whether you used items or not, let me know how you guys got on down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.